Hello, and welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's ripe with, let's say, pungent possibilities. We're talking about porta-potties, those ubiquitous plastic boxes of despair we've all encountered at festivals, construction sites, and rest stops. From bacterial breeding grounds to aerosolized fecal matter, we're about to uncover the dirty truth about these convenient yet questionable sanitation solutions. So if you dare to join me on this journey into the bowels of human waste management, buckle up and grab some hand sanitizer. Let's get one thing straight. Porta-potties are basically petri dishes the size of a phone booth. One study found that your average porta-potty contains over 1,000 times more bacteria than your typical toilet. The high humidity and warm temperatures inside a porta-potty create the perfect environment for bacteria to multiply faster than a Kardashian at a tabloid stand. It's like a tropical vacation for germs, and they're definitely sending postcards back home saying, "Wish you were here, it's disgusting." Now you might think, okay, but at least there's toilet paper, and you'd be right. However, the journey of that toilet paper doesn't end well, my friend. A poorly maintained porta-potty can become a breeding ground for mold. And guess what mold loves to feast on? You got it, toilet paper. So, not only are you dealing with a bacterial mosh pit, but you might also be inhaling spores from a mold colony that's using your discarded toilet paper as a luxury condo. Lovely, isn't it? Here's a fun fact for you. Every time you flush a toilet, tiny, microscopic particles of fecal matter get launched into the air. Now imagine this happening in the cramped, poorly ventilated confines of a porta-potty. It's basically a fecal matter sprinkler system in there. A study from the University of Arizona found that these aerosolized fecal particles can linger in the air for hours. So, the next time you're about to step into a porta-potty, hold your breath. Actually, on second thought, maybe just wear a hazmat suit. You know that god-awful smell that hits you like a wall when you open a porta-potty door? Well, that's not just the smell of concentrated human waste. Porta-potty companies love to douse those plastic outhouses in a cocktail of chemicals designed to mask the unholy stench. And while these chemicals might be somewhat effective at covering up the smell, they're not exactly doing your respiratory system any favors. We're talking about potent concoctions that can cause headaches, nausea, and in some cases even trigger asthma attacks. Sure, the smell might be gone, but you're still inhaling toxic fumes. Alright, let's talk about what happens to all that waste, shall we? Well, it all ends up in a lovely little receptacle known as a black water tank. Now, you might imagine this tank being emptied and cleaned regularly, right? Well, you'd be wrong. These tanks are often only emptied when they're completely full, which means they become a festering cesspool of bacteria, viruses, and all sorts of other delightful pathogens. It's like a buffet for disease, and the only thing on the menu is human waste. And if you think that's bad, just imagine what happens when the tank finally does get emptied. Now you might be thinking, okay, but surely they clean these things, right? Well, the answer is, sometimes. The frequency with which porta-potties get cleaned can vary wildly depending on the company and the location. Some companies might clean them daily, while others might only get around to it once a week, or even less. And when I say clean, I use the term loosely. We're talking about a quick hose down, a splash of disinfectant, and maybe a courtesy flush. The reality is, with so many porta-potties out there, it's nearly impossible to keep them all properly sanitized. Here's a terrifying thought. Porta-potties aren't exactly known for their structural integrity. Overload one of these plastic outhouses with a few too many people, and you've got a recipe for disaster. We're talking about the very real possibility of the entire structure collapsing in on itself, trapping the unfortunate souls inside in a symphony of plastic waste and despair. It's like something out of a horror movie, but instead of a masked killer, the villain is a poorly constructed plastic box filled with human excrement. And finally, let's talk about the granddaddy of all porta-potty horrors, fecal matter splashing. Imagine, if you will, a porta-potty that hasn't been cleaned in, let's say, a while. The contents inside have transformed into a thick, viscous sludge that would make a garbage disposal blush. Now imagine a strong gust of wind, or, God forbid, someone accidentally bumps into the side of the porta-potty. The result? A tidal wave of fecal matter crashing against the walls and floor, creating a Jackson Pollock-esque masterpiece of human waste. So there you have it, the disgusting truth about porta-potties, laid bare for all to see. It's enough to make you want to swear off public restrooms forever. But let's be realistic, sometimes you just gotta go, and a porta-potty is the only option. Next time you're faced with the dreaded decision of whether or not to brave the porta-potty, just remember everything we've talked about today. Just don't forget your hand sanitizer, and for God's sake, hold your breath.